Hi, fifth grade. Thank you for all of you who have been doing your assignments. Welcome to my new people. So I know that we just did a story last week on Aaron Copland, but I mentioned a woman in that story that he studied with. And in this book, I do have a story about her life. It's a short one, not as long as last week. There's also not as many pictures either, so, I mean, you win some, you lose some, you know? Alright, so Nadia Boulanger. Her nickname by some, she is known as the Tinder Tyrant. So, kind of to think about that, because obviously, tyrant is usually not a word that is accompanied with the adjective tender. Not tender like the app, T-E-N-D-R, like soft, like tender steak or tender meat that you don't need to cut with a fork, that you can cut with a fork. So she was born in Paris, France in 1887, and she died in Paris, France in 1979. So she was almost 100 years old. She was about 90 years old, and she was probably alive when your parents were born. So that's pretty cool. So she was a French composer and conductor, female conductor in the 1900s, early 1900s. Crazy amazing. She was famous as an influential music teacher. She taught of the 20th century. She was a music teacher for Aaron Copland, who you learned about last week, and she guided several generations of American composers. So here is a drawing of her. As you can see, she has flowers and she has her cat. She has her carpet bag. So let's see what we can find out about her. I'll even hold up so you can see the picture. As a baby, Nadia Boulanger hated music. It made her cry or hide under the piano. "What a strange little girl we have," her father would say. Then at the age of 3, she heard a fire siren outside the apartment, and she went to the piano to try to create that same sound. And she stayed at one piano or another for the next 89 years. So she was 92 then. Boulanger's first music teacher was her mother, a former Russian princess, who was a strict woman and a perfectionist. To force her to develop good posture, she tied Boulanger to chairs when she was a baby. In all her life, Boulanger walked somewhat stiffly. By the age of 13, she was performing on the organ and piano, and at the age of 17, she was teaching, supervising her younger sister Lily's education. Lily became a brilliant music composer and was the first woman to win the Prix de Rome, an important prize in music composition. When Lily died at the age of 24, Nadia, who got only as far as second place in the Prix de Rome, gave up her own composing and concentrated instead on teaching to support herself and her mother. Women at that time in France were by law paid half as much as men doing the same work, and Boulanger got around this by deciding to work twice as hard. So it seems like music was something that was definitely done in their family. Alright. Her class, "My whole life is based on understanding others, not on making them understand me." People started coming to her from all over the world. She had 2 grand pianos and 1 organ in her room that were all filled with fresh flowers. Over the fireplace was a white marble bust of her sister Lily, and everywhere there were gifts from her musician friends and thousands of music books covered in brown paper. In her bathroom was a giant metal bathtub you had to climb with a ladder to enter. Boulanger dressed and acted and looked older than she was. She carried a big black leather satchel full of music, which students would vie to carry. She seldom smiled, but had expressive hands that could show any emotion. She wore a flowery perfume and adored exotic bath oils. She was nicknamed the Tender Tyrant. Boulanger was not always popular, and after group class, students emerged so drained that they would file across the street to a cafe for a coffee or beer and sit in silence and not say goodbye when they left. One student recalls her saying only one nice thing to him the whole 2 years of his studies with her. On occasion, she would ridicule students and make them cry. Alright, so here is the picture of the bathtub. As you can see, got the bathtub where you have to walk up to get into it. Let's keep on going. She ate lunch during lessons, and pupils worried about whether her plate would slide onto the piano keys. Between lessons, she ate yogurt and took cat naps. She stayed up late writing letters and wrote thousands each year. Every New Year's, she gave a costume ball with lavish food to which she invited her many famous friends. With electrifying energy, she worked well into her 80s, teaching, traveling, and touring, and she never married. She didn't believe marriage and a career in arts was compatible. Boulanger loved her funeral along with music by Bach. Like I told you, pretty short story. So here are some facts about her. Her students included Dinu Lapati, the violinist Yehudi Menuhin, and composers like Leonard Bernstein, Joe Raposi, creator of the Muppets music, Aaron Copland, Philip Glass, Theo Musgrave, Quincy Jones, Virgil Thompson, and much more. In numerous cities, she was the first woman to conduct a symphony or an orchestra, and she premiered many works. Not her own, remember, she stopped writing after her sister died, but composers. She didn't like being singled out because she was a woman. She said, I've been a woman for a little over 50 years. When people asked her how it felt to be the first woman to conduct the Boston Symphony, and she's like, and I have gotten over my initial astonishment. She really just wanted to be seen as equal to the men in the music industry. She believed that music had a moral purpose in the world and that it was crucial for students to be passionate about it. She would advise her students, do not take up music unless you would rather die than do so. So I know this doesn't give a ton of information on her, but Nadia was a pretty amazing woman. I'm just like looking at the names of the people she taught, like Aaron Copland and Philip Glass are two huge names that are there. Leonard Bernstein, one of my favorite people, and then the guy that wrote the Muppets music. I didn't know his name, but I mean, like, that's big. That's still music people listen to now. So your assignment, I'm going to post 2 songs. And I want you to basically compare and contrast them. You don't have to do a Venn diagram. You don't have to do a T-chart unless you want to. That could be something easy. Do it on paper. Just take the picture and upload it to me. But I'm going to do 2 songs, basically an original and then a cover, and you're going to compare and contrast the 2. So you guys are going to be doing Lady Gaga Poker Face and Glee's Poker Face, I believe. I'm going to screen the videos and make sure. If not, you're going to do Johnny Cash and Chanticleer's Ring of Fire. We'll see which one. And that is going to be your assignment. Just compare and contrast those 3 bullets on each side. You know how I am. 3, if you do a Venn diagram, 3, 2 in the middle, and 3. Just make sure you get, a good chunk covered. Because I don't want you to just put one thing and be like, oh, this is by one person, this is by multiple people. That could be one of your things, but you can't just use one. I need more than one, okay? Alright, bye guys. Oh, Classical Music Madness, don't forget about that if you're participating. Thank you.